Should college football adopt a relegation model like the Premier League in soccer? Okay, tell me why this is a thing, because you don't have this in the NFL. You don't have it in Major League Baseball. You don't have it in anything else. I think you kind of sort of had it with the NBA in the 60s where you just get left out of the league. I don't know if they send a formal letter, but Caleb, I'm going to be honest with you. I love you, and I think you do great work. You're one of my favorite people in the world, but this is the most bat bleep crazy thing I've ever heard.
Well, here's why this is relevant. For those of you who don't know, after the Pac-12 dismantling that has just happened, the two teams left out in the cold right now without a Power 5 conference to go to are Oregon State and Washington State. They just happen to be playing each other this weekend. They're both undefeated and in the top 25. I'm going to watch that game. Washington State has a Heisman candidate at quarterback in Cam Ward, and Oregon State has DJ Ugalele. Is that how you pronounce his last name?
Yep, nailed it.
Perfect. So great. I mean, this is like a great story right here. They are in talks with the Mountain West right now to create, because they want to save the Pac-12. There's this idea of combining the two conferences with a few more teams and having a relegation model to have the top teams have their own league and the bottom teams have another, and you play your way in. So basically, if you're one of the bottom three teams in the conference standings at the end of the year, in the Premier League, if you're one of the bottom three teams in the standings at the end of the year, you get relegated to a lower league. If you're one of the top three, you get relegated to the higher league. I think this is a way for them to have a pseudo Power 5 conference because the top teams will be in their own league, which will be Power 5 caliber. Now, let's think about with the other conferences, the big ones, the SEC and the Big Ten. And I don't know how they would work this, but if what happens as we think happens and the Power 5 or the Power 2 or Power 3 breaks off and forms their own league, but some of the smaller schools went in, there's already lesser schools like Vanderbilt and Northwestern in these leagues. Shouldn't there be a relegation model to say, okay, Vanderbilt, you can't kick Vanderbilt out of the SEC because they're a charter member. And so why don't you just have a relegation?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem. Nobody gets back in the league if they get dropped out because they're not going to get the TV revenue. And it's not like the Premier League where some billionaire can just invest more money. Ted Lasso, that's about as much as I know about soccer. But I just don't see them. So if you relegate,
but you automatically get back. If you're one of the top three in the bottom, you're automatically elevated to the next league. And if you're one of the bottom three in the top, you're relegated. It rewards performance. Call me crazy. I think college football, if you're going to go this route where you're going to have more parity now because of Power 5 being thrown into this, and you're going to see more rather than 13-0 and 0-12 in a season, you're going to see a lot closer to 9-3 and 7-5, whatever teams, a lot more of those.
And you would not relegate Vanderbilt because they're in the Nashville market and they do bring some academic integrity. Now, when they go to a super conference, I think Vanderbilt's bye-bye. But until then, I don't think you would relegate them. Who would you relegate right now? Because you know exactly who mine is. And they can tear me up on the message board, and I don't care. They shouldn't be in the SEC. I'll just go ahead and say mine right now. It is absolutely Missouri, and it's not close.
I would relegate Missouri. I would relegate. I mean, also, again, it's
relegate is a naturally funny word.
But Dave, it's not. Yes, but okay. Even if it's performance based, even if you're relegating, that makes those games. Here's what you're seeing in the Premier League: the bottom three teams, when they're playing at the end of the regular season and they're terrible, everybody's still watching their games because they want to make sure their team doesn't get relegated. So you worry about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, the national market, it will still draw because people will be watching to make sure to hope their team does not get relegated.
Well, it's also, but it's also the number 2 market in SEC viewing behind Birmingham, just because people love the SEC. I don't think it's because Vanderbilt viewers are just pounding on their remote to see them.
Well, that's why you said Nashville market at first, and I was laughable. Okay, Tennessee gives you the Nashville market. You think I'm sure the SEC is like, man, we got to keep Vanderbilt because otherwise those Nashville people won't be interested in SEC football.
I feel like
I'm sure Alabama would love to add UAB because, the Crimson Tide just don't have enough of a lock on the Birmingham market.
I feel like I just got relegated in some shape, form, or fashion by my suggestion that you could lose the Nashville market. And relegate.
That's your worst take ever.
Here's basically what relegate means. It means, hey, you're a jackass. That's pretty much what it means, isn't it?
And then Vanderbilt's and then what? And the response from the teams is, "Why don't you shut the hell up?"
Yeah, exactly right. Portions of the program brought to you by Sports Treasures, carrying over 5 million sports treasure. Who else would you relegate? Carrying over 5 million.
Well, if it's a super conference, Northwestern.
Oh, I'm teasing that.
Oh,
carrying over 5 million sports treasures, including the Celebrate 98 book there in North Knoxville. And so much more. Follow on Facebook for the best sports memorabilia. Again, Facebook, Sports Treasures TN. Check it out. And who else would be up for relegation?
Well, when this combination of leagues happens with the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and they raid the ACC eventually and whatever, I mean, Wake Forest will be relegated. We know that.
Well, I'm talking about SEC teams. I don't care about the ACC.
Right now, okay, if it's a half and half, say there's 16 teams when Oklahoma and Texas join. You relegate the bottom half. Okay, you're relegating Arkansas. You're relegating Mississippi State. You're relegating Vanderbilt. You're relegating Missouri. You're relegating Kentucky. Those, maybe not Kentucky, but those four that I just named, you're relegating for sure.
Okay. Elias post there. Teams would lose entire classes when they relegated. And with the transfer portal, you would destroy a program with one swift stroke of the pen. I mean, Caleb, this is the worst idea you've ever had.
Wait. But if you get elevated and another team gets relegated, you may not get a class, but you could just raid that team that got relegated and get the transfer portals from them. Look, they're not going to be prevented from being elevated back into the league because you will be competing with a bunch of other teams that got relegated who all had their classes destroyed.
Appalachian Red Roots, new to the program and on the message board. I've had these same thoughts, Caleb. Well, I love you for watching Appalachian Red Roots and being a part of it. I love Caleb for all he does, but that's the craziest idea I've ever heard in my life.
I think it's genius. And by the way, it's for if you're watching. Okay, what about specifically for Washington State, Oregon State, and the Mountain West? That's probably the best way to save them and keep them credible, right? In a Power 5 way.
Yeah, I guess.
And that's it.
I mean,
this is the thing I didn't. This is the thing I didn't like about the conglomeration of the sport. This is a great game this weekend, guys, and it's good. Next year, no one's going to care about it.
Well, you're kind of fixing a problem before it's a problem, but yeah. Okay, I'm anti-relegation. We can agree to disagree.